Phillies. I don't want to play the fighting Phillies, but I really don't care about it. What's really going to count at this point is our bullpen lined up? Are they getting right? Right now, Kenley is not looking good. Month's a long way, so hopefully after 3 long weeks, we're ready come postseason.
Sounds like a plan to me. We're getting there. 19 days, 20 days, and we'll have the playoffs all set by then, I'm sure. Some new rules coming into baseball in 2023. Pitch count, 15 with nobody on base and 20 with somebody on base. Is that correct? No shifting anymore. 2 people with 2 feet on the dirt. Only 2 people on each side of second base. And what's the other one? The base is changing size. So going from 15 inches to 18 inches. So we're 6 inches closer to a lot more stolen bases, and no delaying on the mound by stepping off more than twice. Isn't that correct? Per batter?
Per batter.
Per batter. All right. So what are our overall thoughts on that, Brent?
You know what? I don't mind it. Actually, I'm okay with the shift going away. That just, for me, I like seeing everybody where they need to be. Let's play offense. Let's play defense. I'm okay also with the game being shy of 3 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes,
which is Major League Baseball's goal, right?
Yeah,
shorten the game.
If you see a little bit more offense. I think that's obviously I know the true fans. They love seeing the pitching battles and the low scoring games. But the fans that are going through turnstiles, they want to see runs. So bring it on.
Chicks dig the long ball.
Chick digs the long ball.
They do show up at Truist. The long ball.
Yeah, or the chicks.
And the chicks.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to get into one of our sponsors real quick. Robert, if you'll go into Bearcat, and then we're going to get in some serious football stuff.
Well, let me just throw out.
You had a question for me.
The judge is up to 57, so we'll see where that one goes. But with 3 weeks to go, looks like he's going to be the legitimate home run single season leader at the end of the season.
And Pujols is at 697, right?
Pujols did tie.
No, he's one ahead now.
Oh, he's one ahead, so he can retire. Hopefully he hits his 3 more. We don't have to bring him back. No offense, I love you, Albert, but you're only doing it to get that number. So
exactly, 3 more and let's retire.
Judge is awesome. I love watching him. I mean, maybe not being the biggest Yankee fan, how can you not love watching him hit that ball? Crushes it.
And what I love is, you get kind of lost. You see a guy who plays for Purdue football, and you figure, well, this guy must be from, nowhere, Indiana or something like that. And it's like, you see Judge up there, and it's like, where's he? Oh, he's a California kid. When he talks, it's like, oh, you're not from Queens, are you? But do you need a delivery right now? As in, go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Charlotte, Atlanta to Athens, or Augusta to Dothan, and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport is still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast USA. Check us out on BearcatExpress.com.
Thank you very much, Blair Cook, for being a sponsor. We're happy to have you.
Live tracking they have.
You like that?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Perfect.
All right, so we're going to get into a little college football right now. What a wild and wacky weekend. Unfortunately, I had other duties that took me away, but, man, did I get all the recaps and all the replays and all that stuff. I got to start off with my Georgia Southern Eagles, knocking off the Nebraska Cornhuskers, getting Scott Frost fired. I think that's just the coolest thing in the world. We've all been wondering when Scott Frost was going to get fired. That sealed the lid. That put the nail in the coffin, as they say.
Absolutely. We were wondering about it when he went on when his onside kick when they were up by 11 to start the year, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah, they barely won against North Dakota State or somebody like that.
It was North Dakota, and that's the one team from up there. I know you think, well, a couple of those schools are really good. That was the not good school that they barely beat.
And Georgia Southern were 22-point underdogs and went into Lincoln and clean house. So go Eagles. That's all I got to say.
We threw Lincoln, Nebraska under the bus last week, asking what it would take to have something change, and at the end of the day, it's not looking real good.
No, and speaking of throwing people under the bus, I'm going to have to throw myself under the bus here. You know, we made our picks last week, and I must have thought I was on the KSU show and doing Chuck's Chumps and picking losers instead of winners, because I went 1-6. Rusty Phillips, if you're out there, your record of 4-3 is safe, because Ian King, you were just as poor as I was. You went 1-6, and my co-host here, Robert, he took the week at 4-3. Robert, way to go, buddy.
You know, I just like to pick winners, Chuck. It's not a big deal.
Well, wait till I tell you your pro record and we'll stop.
In Vegas, you got to hit 56%. 56% is where the money starts.
Yeah.
I never understood that. I thought 51% would be pretty good, but it turns out Vegas gets a little extra. So
Yeah, get that big, baby.
they got to get that juice.
Not only do you sound so great today, you pick winners.
I pick winners.
Hold on to that thought for a few minutes, Brent, before we get to the pro stuff. But let's talk a little bit about some of the college games. How about Texas and Alabama? All three of us sat on this panel, not Brent, but Ian was with us, and we took Bama laying 20.5 points. I even said, you know, Bama may not play that well on the road. They don't feel like they have to win. And I really should have took Texas, but I did not.
Sarkisian was ready. The Texas program was ready. The fans were ready. But that was the ugliest, sloppiest thing that Nick Saban's ever put out on the field. By mid-third quarter, it was the most flagged team in Saban history, and it just got worse from there. And then if you watch the replays of the cartwheel in the end zone where he got hit, flipped over, and then somehow, we'll call that a pass, even though he was still in the tackle box. It didn't make it out of the end zone or any of those other things. At the end of the day, that was the worst call I've seen in many years, and I bet Saban wins a lot of games because of it after this. This team's going to come out firing on some opponents.
Alabama?
Alabama.
How about Appalachian State going into Texas A&M and taking care of Jimbo? You even called that one last week.
I won't say I called it, but, you know, as we pointed out, I do pick winners. App State is just one of those tough teams. Why do you push them? You know, if there's a kid who likes to punch people on the bus, you don't go up to him and start poking him. And that's what it is. That's what it's like if you invite App State to your city. I don't understand.
Well, after it's been 10 years since they beat Michigan at the Big House. This is probably their second biggest win ever in their.
And I don't know what Michigan was ranked. I doubt Michigan was number 6 in the nation when they did that.
At that point in time, yeah, I don't know. But does this make the SEC West lame? I mean, is now Alabama's not even a solid team based on what they've done. They've got great skills. They've got great skill players. But are they the team to beat now? I mean, Texas A&M was supposedly number 2 in the West, right?
I think it's a case maybe, you know, and I'm not trying to make excuses for A&M because I was never super A&M guy this year, but at the same time, I think this is what they talk about where you're overlooking your opponent. Hey, we can sleepwalk through this game. I don't know how you come up with that. I think the only way that you can sleepwalk, if you were 50 years old, you wouldn't be able to sleepwalk because you would have already seen App State do this many times. But maybe if you're 18 or 20 years old, you think, App State, you know, that's because you weren't alive or weren't paying attention last time they slapped somebody in another city somewhere.
You know, they almost slapped North Carolina last week, 63-61.
Real close to being 2-0 with huge wins. Yep.
So the other interesting games of the week, Notre Dame took it on the chin from Marshall. No, not Marshall.
Marshall.
Was it Marshall?
Yeah.
So again, rankings at the beginning of the year mean nothing. Look at what's happened. Utah's dropped. Florida jumped up to 12, and they get beat by Kentucky after I took them again, laying points against Kentucky. So college football is just wild and wacky, and that's all we've got to say about college football because it's crazy every week.
Well, but, you know, going into this week, everybody, and us included, looked at it and went, well, this is a horrible week for college football. There's no real good games. just wait. It's not always the games that you think you're going to want to watch that you should actually watch. That's why you should just get those hall passes. Can I please watch whatever channel for 9 hours every Saturday? And then, you can watch the game, whatever game it ends
Whatever
up being.
game it might be. And I do want to spend just a minute talking about the one game I did get right last week with Ian and Robert both sitting on by my side. They picked West Virginia to beat my Kansas Jayhawks, and Kansas goes into West Virginia and has a pick six in overtime to win by 13. But it was really an overtime win. I don't know why the guy just didn't fall on the ground. He didn't need to run and turn that punt.
I'll say this for you and your Kansas Jayhawks. At the end of the day, in years past, they wouldn't have ever made it to Morgantown to play this game. So these guys, they've got GPSs that are working. They're showing up. And so, hey, more power to you.
Thank you so much.
Rock, what is that? Rock'em Sock'em Jayhawk?
Rock'em Sock'em Jayhawks. There you go. So not only are they now a basketball powerhouse, but
A
now
viable contender for postseason
they're
football?
a viable contender for a bowl game.
A ball game, okay.
A bowl game. So,
I was trying to pump you up a little bit just to see if you.
and we do have a bet with Steve, Pearson, that Kansas will finish above 500. And Steve says no way in hell. But Steve, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Go Jayhawks. 2-0.
Yeah, and now they get to play. Well, I didn't think they'd beat West Virginia, so I'll just give them some props.
Yeah. So some of the other games we missed were Pitt and Tennessee. Only one guy on the panel picked Tennessee, and that was Mr. I Got to Pick Right.
Yeah, just one.
Brent, how did you pick that game?
I didn't even know they were playing. So.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. Brent's a pro football guy, so he's picking our games today from the college on the basis of what their uniforms look like, or which college has the prettiest girls, or something.
Well, you got to
like
give me a little bit of a break here. So I grew up in northern New England, and college football up there, it's awesome, it's fun, it's rah rah, go Maine. Right,
The
but nobody
Bears,
from-
right?
Yeah, Maine Black Bears. See, nobody from Maine's going to the Rose Bowl. Nobody's going. It's all Sunday football up there. It's all team sports, and play the game for your fans and your friends, and go to college, get an education.
What, college
But
football is not a team
no one's
sport?
going. People aren't going. It's a whole different game.
Did you have? Let me just ask you one question. Did you have a poster of Steve Grogan on your wall as a child?
Yeah, I did. In fact,
Bam.
the very first NFL game I ever went to, sophomore in high school, so I'm dating myself, got to go see my first Patriots game. Patriots played the Browns, 1985. Steve Grogan's quarterback.
Sam the Bam Cunningham was running back.
Cleveland beat New England 36, and Steve Grogan
Brian Sipe.
broke his leg up for the year.
Oh, wow.
Daryl Stingley in the back, in the defensive
In
backfield.
the old Foxborough Stadium, they called it Schaefer and a bunch of different names and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But it was,
actually, I was a Patriots fan then. I liked Steve Grogan. I had a friend in high school named Steve Grogan, so I pulled for him graciously. We forgot to get Bailey on there.
I hate the Star Wars logo that they came out with Drew Bledsoe, and they've been having the old Patriot where it looks like he's the center. I remember, when you're learning about America and the Minutemen and
Minutemen,
everything, and then
yeah.
you see that's a logo. That's a pretty freaking cool logo. So I like the Patriots for about this long.
my first duffel bag. It's got the Minuteman on it. Red, white, leather, probably full leather. I was the proudest kid in the
Absolutely.
Did you ever go to a college game up north?
Oh yeah, I went to some college games, and
Who did you go see? Like BC?
actually it was Maine. I'd go see Maine and University of New Hampshire. Went to see that. So
Oh, that's
That's a bloodbath.
what's I know I would say 95% of
Not
the
New Hampshire, huh?
college football nicknames, but I don't think I know University of New Hampshire. I thought they were the internet school. What is their mascot, Matt Brant? Do you know?
give me a second.
Adam, the intern, check that out. University of New Hampshire. Delaware is the Blue Hens. I know that one. Yeah. But I don't think I know New Hampshire. Sean, do you know who, what the University of New Hampshire's mascot is?
I believe it's the Fighting Squirrels.
Squirrels?
Could be the.
That would be nuts.
Actually,
They have a football team?
no, it couldn't be the Green Mountain Boys. That's Vermont.
That's Vermont and Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys, right? Yeah.
A football team that they might beat Notre Dame.
Yeah. So what are the big college games coming up this week? Do we need to go ahead and make our college picks?
You know, I just want to touch on my question of the week for you. I kind
You
of
have a question of the week for me?
I do. I kind of hinted around at this, and I want to get it out of the way on this show. And so my question for you is this. I have a friend who knows some people. Might have gone to school with a guy. That guy had a son who is a 4 or 5-star quarterback prospect, was sought after by most of America. He's playing for a team right now. We won't get into that one right now, but he was told that he could not have a scholarship. They did not have a viable scholarship for him. But you know what else they told him? They said they got some NIL money for him. So
No
my question,
scholarship, but
so,
you got
so
an
my
NIL money.
absolutely. So here's a question that I had never thought of that I couldn't wait to bring to the table today. They cap scholarships so that all programs have to play by the same exact rules. I know of a kid who's going to college right now with no scholarship but has been promised NIL money. If you're getting so much NIL money, it pays for your tuition. Where is that okay? Is that how does that work? Do scholarship numbers go by the wayside at this point?
That might be a question we need to ask Carrick Martin on our Al show later in the day.
We could.
But I don't know. Does NILs supplant scholarship? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying if Nick Saban can only offer 70 scholarships, but he can get you a $5,000
brand new car.
check from the dealership down the road, and that more than pays for your scholarship. Does it matter that you're not a scholarship athlete if your education is being paid for? It's a very interesting question, and I don't know how that one will get policed in the future, because I can assure you this. I remember a long time ago, and you guys remember too, when Alabama couldn't find a kicker in the world, and that was the only way we thought they could lose because they had all these horrible kids, because Nick would not give a scholarship to a kicker.
Yep.
Well, now we don't even need. We can give the best kicker in the world NIL money and send them to wherever. So
You've got a shifting, and it's happening in pro sports too, but you have a shifting of how much money someone can get, and you have a shifting of how much money you're willing to give. Case in point, LIV, PGA. If you've got a organization that wants to pay their players a heck of a lot more of a share than they pay the owners, and people are still lining up and paying for it, then go for it. So
what the
you're-
market is what the market is. We
market
had
bears.
we had Real Madrid on, I believe, earlier. Well, they pay more for all soccer players in the world, right? That's why all the good ones go there.
Right, and if the players are the ones that are putting people in the seats, pay the players a bigger share than the owners.
But just for the record, this kid is a freshman, has no, he's behind a Heisman candidate right now, so he's probably not playing this year, and I believe he's listed as the 5th quarterback.
Are we supposed to know him?
You do not know him.
Okay.
But I'm just, because we have such a huge fan base, I'm trying not to get anybody in trouble by not mentioning any names. But like I said, big school, lots of stuff, and
SEC school?
it is not. It might be a large school that's getting ready to start getting frequent flyer miles to the Great Lakes region.
Ah, so a Southern Cal guy would be my guess.
It could be something like that.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting take. I don't know. I don't know. Is NIL more important than scholarships? Or is scholarships more important than NIL? We'd love to hear from you. 4707 Sports. Let us know what you think. Which is more important to have, your scholarship or that NIL money in a car?
Or does it matter if it all
Where it
comes out
comes
in the
from.
wash? If you get a scholarship and I get NIL money, and after 4 years we both get a free education, isn't that kind of the same? I mean, I guess you can tell me I got a free education. Yeah, but Bob's Burgers gave me $5,000 a week, so what do I care?
Bob Burgers gave me $5,000 a week.
Yeah, somebody
Must be
like
some
that.
pretty good burgers if they're doing that.
If I don't take your NCAA scholarship money, then do I have to play by all your NCAA rules?
Another point. So
Very good point.
good question. Well, let's see. Hey, Sean, can we get you for 2 minutes? All right. Well, let's get Bailey in here for a second. We want to get Miller's Ale House in here and get them their talk. And then we'll make our picks for the weekend, then we'll move on to pros. So as soon as we get Bailey. Robert, that's an interesting point you brought up about NIL.
You know, I usually kind of pride myself on looking at stuff from weird angles, and I had never thought of it. And I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I don't think he was telling me about the way I was taking it in, but, you know, I thought, well, holy crap, it pretty much changes the game to everything, especially if you're in a small city, maybe there's a cap on your NIL money. If you're, say, I don't know, in Los Angeles, there might not be a cap to your NIL money.
That's true.
Now, St. John's basketball, you know, hey, we don't have to worry about scholarships anymore. Everybody's getting NIL money from the Macy's parade.
The Macy's Parade. That's one thing I've always wanted to go to, but I've never been to the Macy's Parade.
I'd love to go to that one. I'd love to go to that one as well.
Yep. Yep. So what'd you think about my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets?
Georgia Tech looked good. Was it Western Carolina?
Yep. They were tied 14-14 and then kind of ran away with it after that. Now, I heard that Georgia didn't look that great. I heard that that they struggled a little bit against Stanford, who also beat KSU the previous week. But that Georgia didn't look as well as they did the first week against Oregon.
Stetson didn't look great in the beginning, but my dad's a huge Cartersville fan, and I can remember when Trevor Lawrence was going away, and he was all worried about, well, the Cartersville might not be able to do this. As long as your defense is giving up this number, you're probably going to be good. You might not win games by 50 points, but you'll still win 10-0, even with a bad offense. So Stetson didn't look good. Offense didn't look as crisp as they did during the Ducks. But once again, if it's 33-0, it's still nothing at the end of the day.
It's still nothing at the end of the day. And they've given up, 3 total points now in 2 games?
3 points, 2 games, and one of them was the 11th best team in the country.
Supposedly the 11th best team in the country, according to the preseason polls, right?
According to them.
Yeah. Awesome. So
I think we should do our picks.
come on in back in, Brent. We're, the wait staff at Miller's is a little tied up,
Hey.
so we're going to go ahead and do our picks before we get them on.
And we love to have our people from Miller's on, but obviously after everybody's got a cold adult beverage or whatever else they need.
And the marvelous food that they serve here
Absolutely.
at Miller's. All right.
Can't wait for Big Red
Well,
tonight.
let me tell you something about Miller's Ale House. I was here Saturday for the Alabama game, and it was packed. And service was great. The food was great. The fans were freaking out, but it was, I've never seen a lot of grown people like horror. And
You don't watch a
all
lot
those-
of people from Alabama.
Welcome to college football in the South, right?
But when they did that after that 5th turnover and chop block and face mask and then a missed face mask, people were just about ready to lose their minds. So it was, but kudos to the staff at Miller's Ale House. They did a really good job on Saturday.
Awesome.
Top notch.
All right, so here we go. What'd you call it? The Frenetic Five? Is that what we're doing?
No, but I like that.
The Frenetic Five, you like that? Okay. Or
Hooked
the
on
Frenetic
Phonics.
Five.
It was the
Something like that.
tempestuous 10, but
Tempestuous 10, that's right. 5 college and 5 pro. There you go. But we'll start with the college games today. So our first one on the map is the Seminoles of FSU going to Louisville. Louisville. Is it Louisville or Louisville?
it's Louisville if you want to annoy somebody from that area of the country.
But otherwise it's Louisville.
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 Yeah, Louisville.
So we got FSU traveling up to Louisville to take on the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are 2.5-point underdogs. So I was a little surprised. It's tough to be a home dog like that. I know FSU had the opening win against LSU. I think they also had a cupcake somewhere in between.
Duquesne, they beat Duquesne.
They beat Duquesne out of Duquesne. But I think I'm going to take. The Cardinal and Malik Cunningham to upset the FSU Seminoles at home.
No, go with Knowles. Not sold on either one of these teams by far, but still thinking the Seminole Nation will rise in Kentucky this weekend.
Wow. Well, Brent, we've got one of each. You get to make the deciding vote.
Now,
You get to decide the world.
go Knowles. They're going to cover that. They're going to cover that. I watched that LSU game, and the fans were just ecstatic. They're spreading. I did watch it a little bit. They spread the ball around when they're running the ball. I think they're going to go ahead and take care of business after.
And that was at the Superdome, not at Baton Rouge.
And just for the record, if you're if you're going to FSU right now, every day of your life when you were young, they were really good, and now you're there and they're awful. So yes, they're now winning. These people are going crazy because this is what they're used to.
Yeah, so it's not just a chop for the Braves anymore. It's the FSU chop back.
Thank you, Dion.
Thank you,
Chuck,
Dion.
And
There
Chuck,
you go.
I've been to a game there. I actually have been to a college game. And
Doak Campbell.
it
At
was
Doak Campbell Stadium
so
in
much-
Tallahassee.
So much fun, and you realize what people are living their entire life.
I almost went to a game with a best friend, Richard Krause. Really wish I would have at this point.
Cool. All right. Game number 2, we have the BYU Cougars, who took it on to Baylor last weekend when I had another one that I missed. Did you just take games that I missed, Robert? Is that the ones you took?
Well, that's one way to win a lot.
So Baylor took it on the chin. Robert made a point last week about traveling to the higher heights in BYU and getting spanked, and that's what happened. BYU that was without their top 2 receivers, if I remember correctly, and they still took it to Baylor. So congrats to the Cougars. This week they travel to Oregon, and they are 3.5-point underdogs to Oregon. They got smacked by the Dogs. And I'm not quite sure how I'm following some of the lines that are coming out this week, but
Because Vegas knows more than everybody.
Vegas knows more
whenever
than
whenever you do the math and you draw the lines and you connect all the dots and you go, none of this makes sense, because Vegas does not pay power bills on making sense. They pay power bills because they know what the heck they're doing.
and so with that being said, I will take the Cougars plus the 3.5 in Oregon.
And because of that, although everything screams BYU, the Cougars, they're knocking teams off. Give me the Ducks in Eugene at home, because Vegas, once again, paying the bills for a reason.
That 3.5-point line is just that's they
That
kill you
half,
there.
that
They kill you
half.
there. Now, because you want to go ahead and you want BYU on that one, but home team out west, got to go to Oregon.
You're going to Oregon too. I see a little trend here. Everybody's picking against me. It's probably not a bad idea based on last week's picks. Game
Or the
number
week
3.
before.
Come on, I'm 5-1 in the A-Sun. Come on. So the next game we've got the Penn State Nittany Lions traveling down to Auburn, Alabama,
Down to the plains.
down to the Plains to play the Plainman's War Eagles and Tigers, all 3 of them at once. So
Technically, they're the Tigers. Their war cry is War Eagle.
or Damn Eagle.
War damn Eagle.
Yeah, and they
Well,
are the
it
Plains.
actually was just War Eagle, but people from Alabama, if they're going to yell it, they just start throwing
Throw that
cuss words
damn
in the middle of it.
Yeah, and I'm taking the Nittany Lions. I think Franklin and his squad are there for beating up on the Tigers. Tigers have started 2 different quarterbacks, haven't they? And they don't know where they're going, so they're going to make a game time decision. Give me the Nittany Lions laying the 3 on the road.
What do you think about that one?
No, it's got to be Auburn. I'm sorry to go against you on that one, Chuck, but it's like.
Well, how come you weren't sorry to go against me on the other 2?
You just don't. You just don't go down to Auburn and be. You're just not going to go down there and take care of business that way. Auburn's going to do it, and this is one of those weeks where week 3 things are. Week 2 in college kind of like was week 1 in NFL. Everything is just throw all the balls up in the air and see where they land. This week's things settle down. Auburn takes care of it.
I wanted you to pick first just to see if you were copying me or I'm copying you. And we're working it together. I'll take Auburn down on the plains. Penn State looks good, but once again, Big Ten school on the road, big SEC home advantage, hot.
Kind of like Appalachian State had at Texas A&M, big home field advantage.
No, we weren't talking about that because as you pointed out, I kind of called that game. Definitely not saying that, but give me Auburn at home.
Okay, game number 4, the Hurricanes traveling to the Aggies of Texas A&M, and they're getting 5.5 points. Is this a rebound game for Jimbo Fisher and the boys out in Aggie land, or is it I'm showing you who I am again, Miami?
I told you earlier that was never an A&M guy. This is a redemption game. I would hate to be a Hurricane on this field. I think this is going to get ugly.
All right. Brett?
Hate to do it to you, Chuck.
I haven't picked yet, so you don't know even what I'm doing.
A&M.
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 Now go ahead and
Miami.
stump us with that one.
I'm going to take the Canes. I think Van Dyke is the quarterback of the ACC this year. DJU hasn't impressed me that much. We're going to see what's happening. Tyler Van Dyke is the guy. I think I'm going to take Miami plus the 5.5.
And I'll just throw out there as my little tidbit, looking at these first three games, the FSU, Oregon, and Auburn game, I think all those will be close games. I think we'll win all of those games, but I think they'll be close games. I don't think this one's close. I think this is at least 2 touchdowns or more.
All right, one more pick in the college ranks. How about them Dogs going down to Columbia, laying 24.5? That's a lot of points to lay at
It is a lot of
Columbia.
points, but it's South Carolina. So
Yeah.
no problem laying the points and Dogs by at least 34.
Yeah, and I think this week, again, things start kind of settling down. Dogs saw what happened to Alabama last week. This is a little bit of a like, we're going to stick it. We're going to go out and win. Show them what we're made of. Dogs covering.
Carolina plus point. So every game, you guys are on the same, and I'm on the opposite side. Well, so we'll see what happens. Hey, Bailey, have you got a minute now? Sean? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll continue forth then. So let's go ahead and do our other commercial.
Let's do a commercial.
Our image. Sean, can you come on now? All right, let's get Sean on here for a second. So then we'll do a commercial,
Then we'll do a commercial.
and then we'll get straight into pro football for the rest of the day because we got some things to talk about in our fantasy football league too.
Do we have one of those?
We do. We are good. All right. Sorry, Brett. Come on in, Sean. Sean, my fellow Georgia Southern alumnus, we are rocking the Eagles this week, baby. Go Big Blue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck.
Get right up on that. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck, look at this. Get up on that mic, Sean. So tell us what's happening with our Eagles. We took care of Nebraska, didn't we?
Amen to that. I'd like to send sincere condolences to the family of Scott Frost.
You don't sound very sincere about that.
Things were looking pretty frosty out in Nebraska now. That's awesome.
Hail
So-
Southern.
Hell Southern, amen. So tell us what's going on here at Miller's Ale House. Brent was just telling us he was out here Saturday for the Alabama game, and this place was rocking. But you were off, right?
Oh, I'm off every Friday and Saturday, but I was at home watching Alabama have a struggle win.
A struggle win on the road for the Tide.
That it was.
Yep. So tell us what's happening. What's a typical week look like here at Miller's Ale House for you?
Well, we're crazy for Monday night football, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday night football. Thursday night we've got the prime rib special, 12-ounce cut with a side for $16. Can't beat it. Other than that, it's hot, straight, normal. We're just happy for football season to be back.
And of course, you've got three guys who love sports on Wednesday nights and the Owls show. Owls who live sports at 7. So Wednesday's going to start happening pretty big.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question, Sean. A lot of people think that there's too much pro football and that, you got a Thursday night game and you got Sunday and you got Monday. You'd be okay with Tuesday and Wednesday games and anything else in between?
You lost me at too much.
There you go.
That doesn't make any sense. I don't,
But you do.
well, I mean, XFL was a little bit much.
Right, yeah. But of the real stuff, you're okay with if the Packers want to play on a Tuesday night, more power to it.
Bring it on.
Bring it
Absolutely.
on to Miller's Ale House.
Absolutely.
All right, Sean. Well, appreciate you sitting in with us today, buddy.
Thank you,
And
sir.
Hell Southern.
I'll talk to y'all soon. Hail Southern.
All right, all righty. All right, we're going to get into Brent's wheelhouse now. It's pro football time. Pro football.
Let me do a Modern Image ad first.
Go ahead.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs.
Thank you, Chuck.
I didn't even have to. You didn't have to ask me to say it that time.
That's good.
For my buddy David McDonald at Model Image, I'll give you one a week. How's that?
That's good.
All right.
2 a week. You'll say it during both shows.
Oh yeah.
Chuck, do you know what else Modern Image can do?
What's that?
They can take a VHS tape, believe it or not, and take that and put it onto a file drive, a thumb drive.
That's awesome.
I actually had here's a main story. I had an old high school basketball tape from a playoff game that I may have been in. Found it, couldn't believe I found it in a box after all the years. Took it down to Modern Image. He put it on a thumb drive for me. It's awesome.
Well, I got to tell you this too. I've got my Family Feud tape from when I was on Family Feud back in 1980, and I have the only copy of it. And my family's always wanted one.
You need to take it down to Dave, and he'll put it up.
I've got it there now. Dave's going to take care of that for me. So Modern Image for making.
And this
making
sounds like I'm
memories.
making fun of Maine high school sports, which I'm not. So just keep the emails to a minimum. How tall was the center in that game?
Well, let's just say that the game, when I was playing the game, was played significantly below the rim. So
Some two-handed chest passes.
it was fantastic. I tell you, I was so fortunate to be able to play. If I had grown up in a much southern
Sure,
state,
sure,
I never had the opportunity. So it was fun.
That's awesome.
All right, so we get into pro ball now. We will go over our picks from last week. First of all, Robert, 2 and 5 for you last week. So
Wasn't
I
real
don't know
good.
what you were talking about earlier about always picking winners, but you need to take a look at this pro pick.
I was
2
so
and
focused
5.
on picking all the good fantasy players
2
that
and
I overlooked some of the games. But it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna multitask this week.
And Chuck here is at 4 and 3, so I did get some pro games right as well as I didn't. And our guest Ian,
good.
Ian had a rough week. He was 1 and 6 in college, but he also went 3 and 4 in the pros. So poor Ian, he needs to spend more time not looking at Penn State and worrying about the rest of football.
Well, he might not want to watch Penn State this weekend, but
That's
love
true.
you, Ian.
Yeah, you're the man, Ian. So, what were the great games this weekend of college football? What was first game? First pro game. First observation is Falcons are still the Falcons.
Well, what is your tagline, guys? Cover your ass.
Cover your ass.
Because you might get kicked in the balls if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan.
Something
every
like
week.
that, yeah.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But it was probably was at that game, and
Yeah, I saw that on
it
Facebook.
was. It probably was. I mean, if you're a true fan, it was actually one of the fun. It was a fun game to watch
For 58 and a half minutes.
58 and a half minutes, which is what the Falcons Classic do. And there's no way, there's no reason why New Orleans should have won that game. There's no reason why they should have won it. They had nothing going. Winston had nothing going. They had 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden, Michael Thomas wakes up, and then it's just.
Well, it wasn't just Thomas, it was Jameis Winston. I mean, he came out of the blue tent as Superman.
Yep.
I mean, he had done nothing. And the Falcons, if they could have recovered, or they had the one fumbled snap when they had like 3rd and a foot, they pick that up and they take a knee, and the game's over. But they couldn't even do that right.
That's correct.
So I don't know what Dean Peace did after Winston came out of the tent. I don't know if he wanted to prevent or whatever. But the Falcons couldn't stop a bloody nose after the first half. They gave less than 20 yards passing in the first half, and then they could do nothing.
That's because the third string quarterback was running nonstop in the first half. They didn't have a chance to pass.
Yeah.
And you see the Falcons fans were on fire. It would go up huge, big lead. Everybody's swaying. Everybody's dancing. The players on the field are dancing. Probably Arthur Smith went down to the field. Who knows? And then
I'm sure Arthur was down
they
there.
went down there, and then it's like just still 10 minutes to go, and here we go.
28-3 all over again, almost.
We've seen it before, and I feel bad for the true Falcons fans because it just keeps happening and happening. But that being said, I tell you what, I'm excited because my second favorite game of the week. Are the Bills really that good, or are the Rams really that bad?
No, I think the Bills are really that good.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens when Atlanta goes into LA this week, because that will get an answer to that question.
I think it will.
If I was going to give fantasy advice to anybody, it'd be to start Matt Stafford this week. That's just personal insight.
Start Stafford. That's wild. Buffalo looked really, really good. I mean, Josh Allen came out flinging. Their defense had, 7 sacks and 3 interceptions?
Well, and that's just it. It's like, everybody talked about, that offense is just going to crush you. But the defense, they were where nobody was last year with Buffalo, and they just dominated.
They were.
If that's what we got to look forward to, do we just mark them down for 20-0? I mean, we overreacting here, but wow, what?
No, I don't think so.
At the end of the day, when Buffalo has to travel 3,000